So in this video lesson, then we shift attention to external economies of scale. So previously, we discussed this more traditional view of economies of scale, considered internal economies of scale, which occur at the more micro level of plants, establishments, or firms. More recently in economics, there's a greater attention to so-called external economies of scale that we will consider in this video lesson, which occur at the industry or even country level. So external economies are often associated with this kind of industry clusters. And there are, of course, many famous examples from the USA. For example, the high-tech cluster in Silicon Valley, or movie industry in Hollywood, or oil industry of Texas, or automobile industry in Detroit area. Of course, Europe is a less integrated market than the USA, but we have also some examples of industry clusters, like, for example, fashion cluster in Paris, or financial cluster in London, or luxury watches in Switzerland, or pharmaceutical industry in Denmark, or food valley in Parma, Italy. So there we have also some examples in Europe, although our industries are not so concentrated. So we have also we could also find fashion clusters in Italy, or pharmaceuticals in many other European countries. Interestingly, even in a centrally planned economy such as China, there exist some notable examples of industry clusters that we are not necessarily so well familiar in the West, but there are, for example, buttons and zippers concentrated in Jiaotao, toothbrushes in Hangzhou, ties in Zhengzhou, cigarette lighters in Shaanxi, shoes in Wenling, and socks in Yiwu. So interestingly, even in China, there exists this kind of tendency to that certain industries tend to be located in certain areas. So there are certain drivers for this kind of external economies of scale, which are also of interest in urban economics. And we can classify them as this two types of one is so-called economies of density, and that relates to this proximity to, for example, specialized suppliers. So in a more sophisticated industry, a firm needs specialized equipment, specialized materials, and support services, which can be provided by this supply chain. And if you have a concentrated of multiple firms in the same area, then that can also then attract these suppliers, or the suppliers have better selection of equipment and material and services. Another reason that can also give rise to these economies of density is proximity to important networks, which might be logistics networks, there might be access to energy, or water, or other materials that are critical to the production process. So the economies of density then relate to this kind of fact that you have close to this kind of important source of important, particularly materials or energy. Then there's another closely related but somewhat distinct term called economies of agglomeration, and this relates to then that there is a larger pool of especially workers in the same market. So, and these economies of agglomeration, we can distinguish between labor market pooling and knowledge spillovers. So labor market pooling refers to a situation that when you have a cluster of firms operating in the close proximity to each other, then the workers can be switching jobs from one firm to another. So there is established a labor market with the special skills that can be beneficial to these workers. And experiences gained by workers in one firm can be valuable to other firms in the same market. But even if there is not this kind of switching of jobs, there can be also knowledge spillovers, because then these workers tend to spend their free time together, perhaps through some hobbies, or just go for coffee or beers after work. So there can be informal exchange of information and ideas that take place at the personal level. So these kind of knowledge spillovers and labor market pooling can then give result to this kind of economies of agglomeration, which increase productivity and competitiveness of the firms in this kind of industry clusters. So these type of economies of density and economies of agglomeration can explain why this kind of industry clusters tend to form in different countries and different continents. So I will continue on the theme and discuss the persistence of external economies over time in the next video lesson. See you then.